My ex-stepdaughter Carla is 27, and her mom Vanessa and I divorced 2 years ago after a 23-year marriage. It was a painful divorce because after Vanessa and I entered our mid-40s, it felt like I always fulfilled my obligation to fulfill her emotionally and financially. However, Vanessa disregarded the fact that I was being neglected romantically. I finally filed for divorce. Vanessa accused me of cheating, and it was difficult to speak with Carla like an acquaintance or friend, rather than somebody I would see at dinner. Vanessa and I have 2 kids of our own, now 18 and a young teen. I've recently remarried and my wife has a preschool son. We recently found out that we're expecting. Our new blended family has adjusted remarkably well, and it's the first time in a while since I felt contentment at home. Like I was not just working to replace what I didn't have at home, or worse, to get away from the dull emptiness of home life. However, with the new baby on the way and our town being a small town, Carla and I are in a cold war of sorts. Like, the phone works both ways, we both know that, but something tells me it's not wise to reach out. Carla was upset because my new wife's sister, Ali, 28 female, is known for being a job hopper who was working at the gas station. Ali, because she has no GED, has faced job issues. I previously talked to Carla about an unpaid internship at my real estate company where she graduated from her postgrad program, but the divorce happened and I tabled the discussion. Ali made it clear every time we saw each other, she's a choir member at our church, that she desperately wanted out of retail. She's not cut out for customers who think they're above her. I felt bad for her and gave her an assistant property management job. Carla is mad because Ali's mom said her daughter didn't finish high school but was now making $70,000 a year, plus annual bonuses, and that you didn't need a GED or a trade to earn money. Carla was upset and said she also hated how distant I'd been. Our fight shocked me because it was the first time since the divorce I was being questioned on everything and made to feel I was doing everything wrong. I eventually cooled down from the fight. This happened a month ago. However, I realized that with the baby coming and me getting older, I needed to set up my estate to make sense of my current reality. After consulting my attorney, he said there's no obligation to include an adult biological child, never mind a former stepchild. But if I wanted to exclude Carla so she couldn't try to argue something, I could still do that. I ended up having my will set up so my current wife, stepson and bio kids are in it. Am I the idiot? Dude, say it out loud. You threw your daughter away with the ex-wife. It's your choice, and us calling you an idiot won't change anything. But really, you are excluding Carla but not your stepson. That sounds wrong. I mean, you cared for her for 23 years and it doesn't matter. I don't see your reason at all. You seem cold to be able to do that to your daughter you raised. I knew he was an idiot when I saw he referred to a child who he raised from age 2 to 25, his ex-stepdaughter. I can't imagine raising a child for 23 years and not considering them my own. This is nuts. It always reminds me of the quote from Clueless, "You divorce wives, not children." Yep, who in the world says ex-stepdaughter? What? And that he felt he'd met his obligations. He raised this child from age 2 until age 23. Once he gets a divorce, he starts feeling there's something telling me that it's not really wise to reach out, and he no longer contacts her, nor wants to give her an unpaid internship at his office. Worse, he gave the new sister-in-law a $70,000 per year job, which would have been an unpaid internship to his stepdaughter. Once she tells him that she hates how distant he's been, he discovers he can legally disinherit her and wants to do so. Well, the good thing is he's starting family number 2 in what I'm guessing is his late 40s or 50s. I'm sure having a baby will help keep his love life spicy. I just snorted. That's exactly what I was thinking. He divorced his previous wife due to a lack of intimacy and romance, and now he's having another baby. He might as well update his will to exclude his current wife and her kids because his divorce is imminent. So I, 27 female, live in a house share in a reasonably priced city in England. I moved here during the global issue for what was meant to be a temporary move, but I liked it more than I expected, so I stayed once things went back to normal. I lived and worked in London before. I live in a 3-bed house with my own bathroom and office. I share with 2 other women my age. I pay more rent because I occupy more space. The girls I live with are nice. We're not besties, but we watch TV together and occasionally hang out outside the house. A sweet arrangement where I'm concerned. Recently, one of my housemates accidentally opened a letter for my employer which detailed a new pay rise and bonus I was getting. I believe it was an accident because it was in a regular white envelope and at a glance our names looked similar enough for this to happen. She says it wasn't until she glanced over it that she realised it wasn't hers. That part I have difficulty reading. The problem is she knows how much I earn. It's a lot by London standards where my job's based, so it's even more by northern standards, which is where I live. She started off acting strangely, then passively, and it escalated to hostility. It came to a head when I sent a payment reminder for the money she owes me for a shared takeaway on Monzo. She sent a voice note on the WhatsApp group calling me a greedy southern cow who was penny pinching when I could more than afford to let this go and let her get the next one. The thing is, we've never done that. There's no precedent for it, and I don't see why we should start under these circumstances. The third roommate started off silently, but I guess they spoke behind my back because they called a flat meeting and said that I was basically minted and it was cheeky to ask the roommate to pay me back £20 when I could afford to let it go. It escalated to me being called a Tory, accused of mocking them by pretending to be like them and living in a house share when I can afford to live alone. They said that given the state of the economy, it's only fair I pay more because I can pay more. I told them no. I said it's not my fault they chose lower paying careers, teaching and nursing, and pointed out I'm already paying significantly more rent than everyone and our house isn't cheap. I refuse to let them punish me because I'm doing well in life and they're not. I feel I've isolated them, but I don't think I'm in the wrong. Not the idiot, but I would consider moving out. Your housemates are jealous and entitled. I had a housemate who started stealing from me for much less when I mentioned in passing that I got into university on a scholarship. It didn't mean I didn't have loans, just a bursary. Also, I've had housemates like you, and I've never felt entitled to their money. I've had generous friends pay for things so we could hang out and do the fun stuff they wanted to do when I couldn't afford it, but I would still pay my way where possible and pay them back when I owed them money. Flat rule: if someone owes you money and doesn't think they should pay you back, they don't respect you. The friendship should be over immediately. I don't see this getting better. OP does have the money to move, so it might be wise to move on for their own sake. They don't have to live alone if they like having people around. That is a valid reason to live in a share regardless of income, but this arrangement may have run its course. I said it's not my fault they chose low-paying careers, teaching and nursing. Everyone sucks here. You're right on the general topic of rent splits and takeaways, but your comment above was unnecessary and personal. Next time, stick to the issue at hand, how house finances are handled. Nothing else needed to be brought into the discussion. My husband and I have been together for over a decade. During this time, he's been in therapy on and off. He had a hard time finding a therapist that was right for him. A few of his therapists early on encouraged him to just medicate with no regular sessions, and one pushed religion on him. Neither of these worked. He needed someone to meet with him semi-regularly, not push their religious beliefs on him, and instead work with him to develop appropriate strategies and talk through issues. Whenever he told me about one of these more questionable strategies, i.e. pushing just love Jesus, I said I thought that was inappropriate and that he should find a better therapist and go without until then. There have been long stretches where he has gone without therapy because my husband isn't generally good at taking care of himself. That falls on me. I have to remind him to do things to keep him healthy and taken care of. Drink water. Eat more than once a day. There are literally times I've had to tell him he needs to brush his teeth. He also gets anxious about making any decisions on his own. I have to help him pick out new clothes and write emails to work colleagues or groups of friends. He can't make plans for us, I have to make them all. Or I should say I have to help him make the plans so he can say he made them. He's a good person. He loves me so much, but he is so dependent on me, it's draining. I have to spend an hour at least once a week talking him through whatever crisis he's having. Sometimes this crisis is over what new collectible to buy, a collectible for him. I'm not interested in that. I finally demanded that he look into therapists again. I told him I couldn't be his therapist and he couldn't depend on me this much. He needs to start caring for himself and get a therapist to work with him to develop these skills. And he did, which is great. However, a month into therapy, he said his therapist had homework for me. I was supposed to write a list of all his great qualities, at least a page or two. Mind you, this is after years of me carrying all his emotional baggage, essentially mothering him, giving him credit for things I did so he could feel better about himself, and one year I did write out 100 things that I thought were great about him for a gift. I was so frustrated, I said no. I said therapy is his work, not mine, and I've spent too many years of our lives solving things for him. It wasn't fair to ask me to sit down and do this homework when the point of his therapy was for him to build his skills without depending on me all the time. He was upset but accepted it and said he understood. Well, just the other day, he told me that his therapist doesn't like me and thinks I should be thanking and showing him appreciation more. I told him I didn't care what his therapist thought. They were his therapist. This does have me thinking, though. Am I the idiot for not doing the homework his therapist assigned to me? Not the idiot, but you need your own therapist. You're carrying 99% of this relationship, and it seems to be draining you completely. Why are you still in this relationship? What do you get out of it? Helper's syndrome? Codependency? Respectfully, he's a good person, he loves me so much, isn't sufficient for a rewarding and supportive partnership. Info: is your husband searching for therapists by 1-star ratings at the top? If the therapist wants you involved in his treatment, he should schedule a meeting with you or ask you to sit in your husband's session. It's wildly inappropriate for a therapist to tell a client that they personally don't like one's spouse. Honestly, in this situation, if my partner had told me that his therapist didn't like me, I would just say, good, divorce me, and go stay with a friend or in a hotel for a week or two. I might ring the therapist and let her have it too, but that would depend heavily on my level of, okay, I'm done now, versus my level of anger. Either this therapist is completely bogus, or your husband is making things up. My friend's cat, Juno, has always been massive, well beyond the level of a usual, oh, that cat is kind of fat. She was an absolute tank, and she's not even a large breed, just a standard regular cat. Whenever someone would point out that she was bigger than she should be, my friend would get annoyed and insist she was just that way and was perfectly healthy. My friend started a global mobility assignment at her job that involved living in Europe for a year, and she asked me if I would take care of Juno while she was gone, to which I agreed. She walked me through all of the cat care matters before she left and told me that Juno was free-fed and I just needed to keep her feeder topped off so that she could access dry food at any time. The feeder wasn't on a timer, it was just a bottle that dispensed food with gravity whenever the tray got empty. I told her that I wasn't comfortable letting her have constant access to food at her weight. She said, paraphrasing here, look, she's still my cat and you don't get to make that call. Either tell me you'll stick to the plan or tell me you won't and I'll find someone else. I agreed, but wondered if I would be able to follow through on my word for a whole year. I lasted maybe a week. Having Juno around all day, every day, made it extremely clear how much she was suffering because of her weight. She struggled to even hop up on my couch. I took the feeder away and started feeding her 1 cat of wet food in the morning and 1 can in the evening. I work from home, so the adjustment period of constant yowling for food was an absolute nightmare, but it worked. She now weighs 14 pounds after 8-ish months on the my way or the highway diet, and is much more energetic and mobile. Even her breathing sounds better. My friend has started to notice the weight loss in the photos that I've been sending her and is extremely upset that I went behind her back after I agreed to the free feeding. She demanded that I go back to the old way. I said, honestly, I'm sorry, but I really don't think I can bring myself to do that. I was like, I know that when she's back with you, you're going to do what you will, but while she's under my roof, I can't just let her gorge herself on food all day when it's clear that she can eat normally and lose weight. That would be neglect. My friend called to see if any other friends or family would take her for the remaining 4-ish months, but no one could or wanted to. She's extremely upset with me and says that when she returns to the US, she will take her cat back and this friendship will end. It hurts, but I accept it. I know I went back on my word and I must feel very bad for my friend to be across the world with this situation totally out of her hands. But I can't bring myself to think I did something morally wrong. Oh wow. This might end up being a hot take, but not the idiot. Think of it this way. If she was skin and bones instead of overweight, and you started feeding her more instead of less, would literally anyone call you the idiot? I bet not. It's really the same thing, just 2 sides of the same coin. Starving a cat is abuse. Overfeeding a cat to obesity is abuse. And if she's still 14 pounds after almost a year of weight loss, she must have been enormous. The inevitable regain when she returns to your friend is very sad, but at least you did right by her while you could. You need to take the cat to a vet and have someone with authority make sure it's healthy. OP should have done that before restricting the cat's intake so much. They're not an idiot for wanting to help the cat lose weight, but such a fast and drastic change is unfair to the cat. I adopted an obese dog, and the vet recommended starting by cutting what it had previously been fed by 10% to start with. OP is an idiot for making up a cat's diet without a vet. If someone put their child into your care and said, feed them at least 6 Big Macs a day and then they can have whatever chips, fries, cookies, ice cream and snacks they want when they want it, would you actually cut 10%? Then why would you do it with an animal who's supposedly loved? OP says they tapered down and the cat is healthy. OP is not the idiot. I gave birth to my son this August. In my country, you get about 1.5 years worth of days you can take out to be on parental leave. Most people save some of these days so they can stay home occasionally with their child as they get older. I plan on staying home all these days until my son is at least a preschooler. Of course, a lot of planning has gone into this. I know we can't eat the most extravagant food, buy the newest clothes, or take expensive trips. But to me, staying home and caring for my son is worth it. Every Saturday I take him to an open preschool. I don't know if it exists in the US, but basically, everyone is welcome there with their child for a few hours. They play, we eat, and we do stuff together. There's a mother there who had her daughter last April. She expressed to me and some other parents how sad and upset she was about having to go back to work so soon and that she was stressed about leaving her daughter at preschool. She said that she wished that she could be able to stay home as long as I planned. I said that it was possible. She told me for them it wasn't. I call BS on that. She obviously gets her hair coloured, has makeup, trendy clothes and stuff like that. I told her that if she just budgeted and didn't spend that much on herself, she could stay home. She once again said that even if she did, they couldn't afford to stay home any longer. I know she has a husband, so it has nothing to do with that. I scoffed and said, life is what you make it out to be. She seemed extremely upset over this. Later, one of the people who organised this asked to talk to me. She explained that they value kindness and respect here and that if I continued to make this a hostile place, I would get another warning before being banned. Was I an idiot for telling her the truth even though it may have been a little hard? I feel it was childish of her to run off and tell on me. You are the idiot and a colossal one at that. You have no idea what someone's financial situation is. Having a husband doesn't mean you have the luxury to stay home. You attacked this woman and you have absolutely no idea what's going on in her life. Heck, even if you did, you had no business speaking to her the way you did. Lady, the cost of hair colouring and clothes, even at a point of extravagance, does not come close to an entire salary, which a household may not be able to do without. You need to find out this family's mortgage note. They may help other family members financially. You don't know that her husband's job is lucrative and secure. Consider spending less time congratulating yourself on what you believe to be your budgeting genius, and a little more time being grateful for the luck you have to be in a position where budgeting can make a difference. You are the idiot, and a judgy one.